Hello and welcome to Power Up Your Life, brought to you by Live Well Events and our amazing event partner, Fabletics. We will get going with our next session, Power Up Your Confidence Inside and Out, in just a second. Just some housekeeping. Make sure to post any questions you have for our panel in the Q&A area. Use the chat to say hi to each other, interact with each other and the session, and most importantly, enjoy the session and the rest of the day. So let's get going.
Hi everyone. So the second session of the day is Power Your Confidence Inside and Out with Chloe Brotheridge, Lucy Gornall and Tiwalola Ogunlesi. Chloe is a hypnotherapist, coach and author of The Anxiety Solution and Brave New Girl. Lucy is editor of Women and Home's Feel Good You and personal trainer. And Tiwalola is a confidence coach and founder of Confident and Killing It. What a great panel. So I'm going to hand you over to Lucy to start.
Good morning. Hi. How are you all? I hope you are having a lovely morning so far. So much discussion going on. So I'm very lucky this morning to be joined by Chloe and Tiwa for the Power Your Confidence Inside and Out. It's definitely been a testing few months, testing year, I'd say, on our confidence. You know, we were in lockdown. We were kind of virtually doing everything from drinks to workouts to Zoom meetings, everything. And we kind of lost, I think a lot of us lost ourselves along the way, maybe. You know, we didn't have that touch. We didn't have the connection with our friends anymore. We were always on social media. I don't know about you, but I definitely spent more time on social media comparing myself. And just some days I'd just sit here and think, oh, what is wrong with me? I'm just a different person. So I know as it stands, personally, I'm a lot better now that we've kind of come out of lockdown, although there hasn't really been an official end of lockdown. But yeah, it's been a crazy one. Work's been a bit mad. Chloe, how are you feeling today? Let's talk about how your confidence is today, right now.
Yeah, I'm feeling good today. I always have a slight, I call it nerve-sighted, that nervous excitement feeling of speaking to a group of people.
Okay.
But I feel good today. I've been very lucky over lockdown. My work is all online, so it's all continued.
Yeah.
One of the lucky ones in that respect.
Great. And tell us a bit how you got into hypnotherapy.
Yes, so I trained as a hypnotherapist 9 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I got into that basically because I had pretty bad anxiety, whereby I was having panic attacks. I've had panic attacks giving presentations before. I had social anxiety to the point where I found it really hard to speak to people, even one-on-one, and I would just worry. So, you know, having my own anxiety issues and finding hypnotherapy really helped me. I then trained, and I've made a lot of progress with my own anxiety and confidence over the years, and now I get to help other people who are experiencing the same things.
Yeah, because you've got your Karma You podcast. Obviously, how's that going, and how do you find that? Do you get a lot of feedback from that?
Yeah, it's going really well. So I just passed 1 million downloads, so that was very exciting.
Wow,
Milestone. I actually started it because I didn't feel that confident speaking to people. I started it 2.5 years ago, especially people that are, you know, I really admire and look up to, and I wanted to challenge myself, and I wanted to get that practice in. And I think that's such a key aspect of, you know, when we're fearful about something, or when we're lacking in confidence in an area, actually kind of walking towards it and doing it can help you to grow your confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Tiwa, the same for you. How are you feeling today? Just today.
I'm feeling good. I did have like a couple of weeks of like pure burnout, but I took a whole week off, and I switched off, no emails, you know, felt really relaxed to just reconnect with my heart and my body. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling recovered and excited. Yeah.
And when you say burnout, just because burnout's now classed as an actual illness, yeah, World Health Organization, I think 2019 actually said burnout to do with work is now a thing, because you know how we can all be like burnout, stressed, but burnout a thing. What does that feel like when you say you've experienced burnout?
Ooh, okay, so I actually did like a whole podcast episode on like the signs to look out for.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest ones for me was just like a complete numbness, like not feeling any emotion towards people I love, towards work that I usually love. You know, I always think, oh, when you're passionate about something, you'll be passionate about it forever. But actually, you can burn out doing work you're passionate about.
Yeah.
And that was me. So some people might have like really high emotion, like spasms, and other people will just feel like no emotion whatsoever, like completely like emptiness inside. So for me, that was the major sign, like, and then beginning to resent people and relationships and like work that I usually came natural to me. I was just dreading every single thing.
Yeah.
And then also like a stiffness in my body, like my body literally just felt like a block of ice. And I just knew like something is off here, like this is not the usual me.
Yeah, and especially if you're probably exercising and eating right, and you're like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was exercising and eating, but just that joy that is usually in my life just wasn't there anymore.
So tell me how setting up your community, Confident and Killing It, dedicated to getting women confident, unapologetic and fearless, which I think is so cool. Tell me how that came about.
So I was working, first of all, when I graduated from university, I was stuck in a job that I absolutely hated. And I said to myself one day, there needs to be more to my life than being stuck in a job that I hate. So I started volunteering as a youth leader. And I was working with a group of teenage girls around 15 to about 17. And I asked them what they wanted to get out more of in life. And they all wrote it down on a piece of paper. And so I get home like super excited to see what each one of them said. And I open the first piece of paper and it's like, I wish I was more confident. And I'm like, okay, it's just one girl, it'll be fine. Second piece of paper, I wish I loved myself more. Third piece of paper, I wish I was more confident. Fourth piece of paper, I want to learn to unleash my inner Beyonce. And I literally just burst into tears because I remember when I was 16 and I didn't love myself, I didn't love my body. And I was like, here we are again, another generation of young women growing up. And it's the same vicious cycle of wanting to love themselves more, wanting to be more confident. And I just said, enough is enough. Like, I'm not going to sit back and keep watching. Because I saw my mom squeeze her thighs in the mirror, you know? And so it's like all of these things get passed down.
Yeah, they do.
We have to break this. Like, everyone deserves to love and believe in themselves. Like, that shouldn't be the exception. That should be the norm. So I started Confident and Killing It to make self-love the norm, because that's how we should live. Because when you are confident in yourself and you love yourself, it brings so much freedom and you take action on your dreams and things like that. So it literally started with me posting a video on Instagram about how important it is to love and believe in yourself. And I got so much good feedback from that video. I just kept going and going. And then I went into events, and then Confident and Killing It was born. And now I have a community of women, a podcast. I do one-to-one coaching, all geared to waking women up to their birth so that they can start taking action on their dreams.
That's amazing. I love that. And I love how you mentioned about your mum, because I'm sure she meant nothing by that.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, what is this tummy? And in my now, I'm obsessed with tummy. And it's so funny. And she obviously, you know, she had there was no harm meant by what she said. It was purely one of those passing comments that we've all made about the body.
Exactly.
So bizarre. So you're both experienced confident coaches, confidence coaches, also confident. Can you tell me what the most common confidence challenges that you see as coaches, and kind of what's the advice you give to help with these challenges? Chloe, do you want to go?
Yeah, I would say the most common thing is the inner critic. 100%. I hear that so much. It seems like everyone has an inner critic, even people that seem super confident on the outside. On the inside, we have this voice that is telling us that we're not good enough. And the thought that I'm not good enough, whether that's not beautiful enough or smart enough or pretty enough, or whatever it is, not enough, that is so prevalent. And I think, you know, almost everyone has that. People like Beyonce, you know, Beyonce is actually a massive perfectionist. That means there's a part of her that doesn't feel good enough. So even though we might aspire to Beyonce, you know, inside she must doubt herself as well. So I think part of it when I'm working with people is recognizing that it's universal. You know, imposter syndrome is almost universal. When they have done surveys on people to find out how prevalent imposter syndrome is, it's anywhere from 80 to 100% of women feel like they're a fraud, they're going to get found out, they've been fooling everyone this whole time, the only reason they're successful is that they've just flagged their way to the top. And actually, if everyone experiences that, maybe it's not a sign that we're not enough, it's not a sign that there's something wrong with us, it's actually just a part of being human. And accept that and embrace that, and learn to be kinder to ourselves, you know, we can move forward with that.
Yeah, absolutely. The imposter syndrome is a real, that's been spoken about so much more recently. Everywhere I turn, I'm seeing, I know that I've been working on some articles about imposter syndrome. It's just bizarre because we do sit there, don't we? And we go, oh, I just blagged this. Don't know how I did it. Blagged it. It's like, come on, no, you did it because you're good and you worked hard. Like, own this. So much more. Tiwa, what are the most common, or a common confidence challenge that you've kind of dealt with or had someone come to you about?
Similar to what Chloe said, definitely the inner critic, but something else that I see is like fear of the future and always thinking of the worst possible outcome.
Yeah.
So for example, so I said, oh, I posted that first video on Instagram, but before I posted that video, I was literally sitting in my room with my hands shaking.
Oh no.
My negative thoughts were like, who do you think you are? You haven't watched enough Oprah videos to be doing this. Your voice sounds like a man, da 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 da. And it's like, what if people don't like it? What if people laugh at me? What if people judge me? And it's like, you haven't even done that thing yet, but your mind has already gone into the future of the worst possible outcome. And it's like, is that facts that people are gonna laugh at you if you speak up in a meeting? Is it facts that people are gonna judge you for launching a business or putting yourself out there on social media? That's an assumption you're making about something in the future that has not even happened yet. So that's what I see a lot of women just going like, okay, but what if? And I always challenge them like, but what if you are successful? But what if people do love it? But what if no one laughs at you? And actually, what if your message can change somebody's life? So instead of going, what if for the worst outcome that you don't know whether it's going to happen or not, why don't we just take that energy and assume the best possible outcome?
Yeah, that's so true. It's hard to do though. How do you, Tiwa, focus on making sure you kind of remove that mentality, and what's your tips?
So for me, I think the power of choice is really important. Being awake to the power of choice that you have. So when I was younger, going through like my really bad kind of negative thoughts, inner critic, I also felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt I wasn't skinny enough. I felt I wasn't talented enough. I just thought my mind is my mind and there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
But that's not true. Your mind is so powerful and you can program it for success. And I didn't know that until I started reading books about how powerful your mind is and how you can literally make your mind work for you rather than having a mind that sabotages you. But you got to understand that your mind is a bit of a battlefield, right? The positive and negative thoughts are always going to be going back and forth at each other. But you've got to make an intentional decision to know the good things about you and to focus on those things. So knowing your strengths is a really, really, really important kind of foundation to confidence, because when the inner critic comes in and goes, how do you know you're good enough? What if people do laugh at you? And all of these things, you need a comeback. You need to say something back to it and defend yourself and be your own cheerleader. Now, if you don't know any good things about yourself, you're just going to be like, oh my gosh, maybe I am not good enough. Maybe I shouldn't do it. And then you freak out and then you don't do it. But when you do know the good things about yourself, you can be like, actually, is that really true? I don't think it's true because I know I'm a good communicator, or I know I have what it takes to be a great entrepreneur, things like that. So making a choice to be like, you know what, this thing hasn't even happened yet. I'm going to challenge it, and I'm going to believe that I have what it takes to have a positive outcome in the future rather than a negative one.
Yeah.
And then so you can ask yourself, and even if the worst possible outcome happens, what inner resources do I have that will allow me to bounce back from that situation?
Yeah. Okay.
You know? Yeah.
We've got to big ourselves up here. I mean,
Absolutely.
Chloe, I know, what do you think to this? So during lockdown, I don't know about a lot of other people. Well, I spoke to friends about this and they kind of were similar. I spent a lot more time worrying that people were saying stuff about me. It was like I had voices in my head all the time saying, well, that person's saying that about me, and that I was just so on edge, and I've never had that before. Chloe, do you know where I'm coming from? Like always worrying about what people were thinking about me. It was really bizarre, or worrying that people were bad-mouthing me, and I'd just be like, but why are you worried about that? Like, they've never said anything about you before. How can we kind of change that mentality and stop panicking about other people around us?
Yeah, I think that is a big issue. Worrying about what people think is massive. I think it comes down to whenever we're out of control of our minds are out of control. It's going into the future, it's going into the past. We're compulsively worrying, or we can't stop ourselves from worrying. I think having some kind of practice to regain some control of your mind is really helpful. And I know it's such a cliche to talk about meditation, but meditation is literally the ultimate tool for training your brain to be more present, training your brain to focus on what you want to focus on.
Yeah.
So for me, I do 20 minutes of meditation in the morning and the evening, transcendental meditation. And it was like my brain got rewired, and
Really?
I don't get into, because I used to obsessively worry, like literally unable to move or do anything, because I'd just be like so focused on worrying.
How worry about stuff that's not even happening.
Yeah. And I think as well, developing that self-compassion, and Buddhists talk about this. They have self-compassion meditations whereby you practice thinking kind thoughts about yourself and other people as well. One exercise I really like to do, and I make my clients do this, and no one wants to do it, but I really recommend people listening today to do this, is to ask your friends to tell you what your strengths are and what they admire about you, and also take it as an opportunity to tell them what you think their strengths are and what you admire about them. And that will, firstly, everyone will cry. People always cry when they do this. It's a really, really lovely exercise, but it could just give you back that perspective about the things that people do appreciate in you. If you're a bit disconnected from people and you've kind of forgotten that your friends love you. So give that a try, people.
The disconnection is a big thing this year. We've all felt like we've just lost that, your friends are still there and that you still love each other and you're still close, but you've not had that constant connection, like you say. So a lot of people, and myself included, have felt a little bit just lost, a little bit kind of alone, which is just a different feeling that I think a lot of us may not have experienced before. It's my curtains are just flying into my face. Okay, so how do you stay true to yourself when you're dealing with so many external pressures? Because your self-worth is so much more important than pleasing other people. Just a couple of quick fire tips. And also then I also want to go back to that meditation you were saying, Chloe, because I always come with the whole, I don't have time to meditate. 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the evening is a long time to sit. Just on a side note, how do you stay focused on meditating, not checking your phone, not looking around you, not being like, what's the time? I've got to be at work. How do you actually focus for 20 minutes on meditating?
There's a famous quote that the Buddha said again. He said, if you haven't got time to meditate, you must have a lot of time to feel like crap.
Damn.
He actually said that. I don't know, 20 minutes twice a day doesn't seem like, it seems like a very small price to pay, but to be happier, to be calmer, to be more confident.
True.
How much time do we spend on our phones? How much time do we spend watching? I spent 29 hours watching season 4 of Married at First Sight.
But that's worth
I think once you get into it and once you experience the change, then it becomes more motivating, because you realize actually this is worth doing. It's like going to the gym and feeling healthier, and then suddenly it becomes self-sustaining.
The habit. Cool. Anyway, so back to the question. So I'm always interested in meditation because it's something I want to be into, but the most I've ever done is 5 minutes, and then I'm like, right, I've got to go. But that 5 minutes was good. So, you know, so back to the question, how do you stay true to yourself when you're dealing with so many external pressures? Tiwa, do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, so I think it's really important to understand that who you are, the work that you do, and how you feel are 3 separate things. Mm-hmm. So because a lot of the time we tend to feel like, oh, I feel like a failure, or I feel really insecure, or I feel like I feel really terrible today. That must mean I am a failure or I am a terrible person, but that's just not true. How you feel and who you are not the same thing. So being able to kind of separate my emotions from who I am inside and go on a journey to discover who am I? Like I said, what are my strengths, but then also what are my values? What is most important to me? And throughout lockdown, there was a lot of conversation about productivity and productivity guilt. Like, should you be starting a new course? Should you be launching a business? You know, in the pandemic, right? Like, if you're doing the same thing you've been doing, then you're not using the most of your time, da, 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 da. And there were so many debates going back and forth, but actually, productivity is really spending your time doing what really matters to you. Mm-hmm. If you spend your time in meetings all day that you don't care about, that's not productive. Mm-hmm. So I think for me, how I've been able to stay true to myself is by really understanding what do I care about the most? What really matters to me? And am I intentional about doing those things every week, every day, and living from a place of strength and using my values? Because fulfillment in life comes from knowing your values and honoring those values. And if there's something that's really important to you that you are not taking time to do, you will feel like there's something missing. And so I stay true to myself by always checking in, like, what's really important to you? Are you doing those things? And that's how I noticed the burnout that I was talking about earlier, because I felt that emptiness and I was like, there's something really important to me that I am not honoring, and that is self-care and taking care of myself and resting.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I would say, like, really identify what matters to you and check how much time you are spending doing the things that matter to you versus the things that don't. And if your time is imbalanced, be really strict, set boundaries, be strict, and be intentional about doing more of what you love.
That's so true. I know in my diary, I'll mark out evenings and I'll be like, go home.
Yeah.
Go home, nothing. It's like, it's booked out. It's booked out me time.
Yes.
Okay, let's get on to comparison culture and social media. This is a huge thing. I know I'm on social media, we're all on social media, and I'm sure we spend more time than we should scrolling aimlessly sometimes. And I put my phone down. I think I've just spent half an hour of my life was wasted on social media. What did I gain from that? All I did was look at pictures that made me probably feel a bit crap about myself, maybe learn a few tips about how to flavor my water, or I don't know, any random facts. But, you know, we live in this world of filters, exaggerated reality, perfect lives, etc. And then now we've got imperfect lives, people showing maybe their cellulite or things like that, and kind of showing that it's normal. We've just got so much thrown at us all the time. What are your tips for kind of applying perspective, basically, and ignoring this best life on social media? Because it is not really real, social media. And I think we need to start really realizing that is just something we should not be taking as a given all the time. People's lives aren't this perfect, and there's so much more that goes on behind the scenes. I don't know if you've ever been maybe with I probably shouldn't say this, but if I've been away, say, with a couple and they've posted a lovely picture on Instagram, but actually they were having a massive argument. I just think, well, this isn't true. And it's fine. You know, you can post what you want and do whatever, but we need to really realize that there's so much more going on behind the scenes than what we see on a picture on social media or someone's story. What's your advice for dealing with this? Chloe, do you want to go?
Yeah, I also, I don't know if anyone's seen the documentary The Social Dilemma on Netflix.
No.
It's all about social media, and it's really terrifying, and everyone should watch it. Honestly, if I didn't have to use social media for my job, I would not be on there.
Yeah.
I just don't see why. Yeah, I just would spend, I already spend quite a lot of time on there. I actually delete the Instagram app every single day. That's very radical, but I do my stories, I do my replying, my posting, and then I get off it, because otherwise it is addictive. It's addictive. And I'll be on stories, checking out other people, seeing what they're up to. I do a lot of muting people. If people are triggering on a comparison in me, I notice that at certain times of the month, certain times of my cycle, I'm more likely to, feel a bit lower in confidence. So I'll be really mindful around those times to be like, right, I'm not going to go in.
When are those times, just to clarify?
So like before my period, basically. Yeah. Day 22.
Brilliant. Okay, we'll put that in the doc.
Yeah.
Delete the gram.
Yeah, exactly. I think we need to also come back to appreciating ourselves more and celebrating ourselves, and even having a daily practice of just asking yourself, what do I appreciate about myself today? I appreciate the fact that I washed my hair, or I took that time for myself. I appreciate the fact that I took the bins out on time. Something really, really small, those simple things that we just discount can help you to feel better about it.
Yeah, amazing. Tiwa, what do you have anything to say on
comparison culture is literally the biggest driver of negative thoughts, and a big reason why a lot of women don't feel good enough. But I think social media has its good and bad side, so I wouldn't say it's all bad, because Confident and Killing It wouldn't exist if I hadn't posted that video on Instagram, right? That was how I built community, how I'm growing my business, all of those things. So I think the first thing is, people who want to do good in the world, people who want to use social media in a good, healthy way, need to be just as loud as the people pushing like, flat tummy tea and all of these other things that make women feel bad about themselves. So I think, we need to be loud and out there and create content that attracts people, so that they're not always looking at, I'm not good enough. And there's other options of types of content they can consume. Another thing is, authenticity is so, so important. And I personally, for me, I have a struggles highlight on my page, because I never want someone to come on my page and just be like, she's so confident, she has it all together, I want there to be a struggles highlight, so they can see all the different insecurities that I go through, and how I'm dealing with them and adjusting them. So I think we have a responsibility to not only show the good side of our lives. If we want to live in an authentic world and be authentic people, we need to know that it's okay to be vulnerable, right? When COVID hit and I lost all my bookings, all my business, literally everything was gone, I put that on Instagram, and I shared that, literally, guys, I've hit rock bottom. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I will pick myself back up, but this is where I am right now. And then when I did pick myself back up and my business grew again, I put that out there as well, because it's important for people to see the beauty in your strengths and your struggles. So for me, I think it's normalizing that there is beauty in strengths and struggles, and social media doesn't always have to be about perfectionism, and it's okay to be vulnerable and be authentic, because people really connect to that, and there's really nothing to be afraid of in sharing those insecurities.
Yeah, that's so true. I think social media is a real big one for body confidence as well. Just on a side note, for how we feel about our bodies. Women's bodies are just so analysed and so scrutinised, and that tiny little bit there, we need to get rid of that. And there's editing apps at your fingertips now. You can smooth, flatten, tone, do whatever you want. You can even draw a six-pack on if you really want to. How can you each give me a tip on how you kind of ignore the body side of social media and just plow on through and be like, my body's fine, it's strong, it's capable? Do you have any words of advice?
Well, just very quickly, I would say follow people that look like you.
Yes,
if we're looking at a certain type of person, which is usually thin, white, young, the majority of people are not going to fit into that very tiny narrow. So follow people that look like you, diversify your feed, and you're going to feel better about yourself, because that's how the real world is. It's not the real world to see just a certain type of person on there.
Yeah, that's so true. Tiwa, do you have anything?
Yeah, absolutely. So I used to be really insecure about my body because I have a sister who's tall and skinny and she could eat whatever she wanted. And then I was the one who had to watch my weight. So as we were growing up as teenagers, and I'm only 11 months older than her. So as we were growing up, I was like, why is my body doing this and your body is doing that, you know? And how I was able to overcome that was by understanding that there is more to me than my body. Right. And looking at how I can be grateful for the body I have. So my legs, if yes, okay, maybe I squeeze my thighs from time to time, but actually if I didn't have legs, I wouldn't be able to walk around and be on stage and give talks, right? If I didn't have my voice, I wouldn't be able to share my message. If I didn't have arms, I wouldn't be able to hug people and show love. So you are more than what you weigh. You are more than what your body looks like. There is a purpose to you. When I reconnected with my purpose, that's when I began to realize that I love my body. Like, my body helps me do so much. And what I weigh doesn't add or take anything away from my life. But really the fact that my body is alive and my heart is beating is what is the most crucial thing. But yeah, I also really agree with what Chloe said, like, follow people who look like you, because usually when I ask some of my clients, like, oh, like, who are some of the women you look up to? A lot of the women they will talk about on Instagram look nothing like them whatsoever, you know? And when that happens, it begins to, like, if you're only looking at a certain type of body image that looks nothing like yours, you start questioning, oh, is there something wrong with me? So understanding there's more to you than your body, but also, like, understanding the variety of bodies, and you know, we all look different, and that's beautiful.
And touching on your vulnerability point, it's still, you know, we almost sometimes feel like we shouldn't ever not feel confident, but it's normal to have days where you look in the mirror and you go, oh my God, what is wrong with me? It's not a bad thing. Some days you wake up and you're like, right, that's it, I need to just not look in the mirror. You know, it's a normal thing, and I think we need to be accepting of the fact that we're not going to wake up every day and feel $1 million and be like, look at me, I'm a girl boss, I'm owning this. It's okay to have days where you're feeling a bit pants, or, you know, that pre-period bloated feeling where you're just heavy, and it's normal, and we're women and we go through this fluctuation of hormones anyway. So our bodies, I feel like day to day, are changing anyway, that we have no control over. So I also think we all need to be okay with the fact that not every day is a confident day. It's just trying to kind of make sure it's not a long lasting feeling, I guess, really. Okay.
So glad. Can I just say something quickly on that? I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that's a really big myth about confidence. People think confidence means being confident 100% of the time, but that's not true. You will have roller coaster days where you're super confident and when you're not. But, you know, roller coasters go up and down, but they always keep moving forward till they reach the finish line. And that's literally what life is like. Like, some days you will feel confident, some days you won't. But the key is not to get stuck in those days when you're insecure and you're down. Like, feel it, acknowledge it. It's good to feel an array of emotions, but don't stay stuck there. Begin the work to process it and move forward.
Yeah. What do you think to kind of writing down your thoughts? I know I've had days where I just write stuff down. It's like out of my head, scribble down, and it's almost like I could bin it and bin the thought. What do you have any other like little hacks that you might do? I know you said about Chloe following a diverse range of people. Anything else that you might do day to day just to kind of remove any negativity from your mind, like throw it away almost and crack on with your day?
Yeah, so I definitely, I think writing things down, putting things into words. They've done studies and brain scans on people. When they put their feelings into words, it calms down the amygdala. And I often suggest people use something called the feelings wheel. Basically, if you Google feelings wheel after this session, you'll find every emotion that we can have. Probably not every emotion, but, you know, a couple of hundred emotions. And then, you know, recognizing, what am I feeling today? Am I feeling sad? Am I feeling disappointed? Am I feeling lonely today? And there's something about labeling our emotions that's really powerful. Also, something that Tiwa touched on, which I often suggest people to do, is visualization, and how visualization can actually change our brain, there's neuroplasticity, so we can what we imagine, what we can focus on can change our neurology. And one example is a silly example. I recently had laser eye surgery, and I was, up until a few years ago, I would never have done it in a million years. I had like a massive phobia of anyone touching my eyes. But every day, the month leading up to the laser eye surgery, I was visualizing the surgery, and I did it, and it went really well. And I know imagining myself staying calm in that process really helps. So people can use that for if you're doing a presentation, if you're going to a social event that you're nervous about, imagining how you want that situation to go. How do you want to feel? The thoughts you want to be having. How are you going to hold yourself as you walk into the room? You know, visualizing can make a massive difference.
Yeah, that's amazing. Tiwa, do you have any tips?
Yeah, I would definitely write whatever the lie is. So I work in like, what's the lie? What's the truth? What's the lie? What's the truth? So I will always write down, okay, the negative thought, oh, you're not good enough. Is that really true? No. So that's a lie. Write it down and actually rip it up, because there's something so powerful about physically ripping up a piece of paper. Yeah. And when I do talks in person, I always make sure like women will all write down some of our fears and insecurities, and they will physically rip it up and then write down what they want their truth to be. Because what I began to realize is that we get to decide what's true about us. You know, not society, not our parents. We get to decide. So if I say, I want to be confident, if I say, you know, I am gifted and I am talented, no one has the right to come to me and say, actually, no, you're not. I've decided that that is my truth, and I'm not going to believe anything else, because we actually have the power of choice to pick and choose what we believe. And so taking out the negative and the lies and writing it down and ripping it up and then focusing on the truth is something that I do to just like keep building my confidence and not focus too much on the negativity. Also vision boards really work for me as well. One thing that I did was also looking in the mirror every single day and just say, Tiwa, I love you.
I love that. That's
every single day, even on the days I didn't feel like it, you know, even on the days where I had a spotty face and I wasn't feeling how I felt at all. I just said, Tiwa, I love you.
Yeah.
That was it. And slowly but surely, right, this is how you reprogram your mind to work for you.
Yeah.
And then your mind catches on and it's like, yeah, actually, I do love you. And, you know, and you can use that. Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that. And what you were saying about how people don't have a right to say, like, go against kind of your thoughts. I also think surrounding yourself with people who big you up is so important, and just getting rid of these people who just bring you down. Because I feel we all have maybe a friend or two that you just think, whenever I leave you, I feel like shit, like I just feel crap. I just think we need to be with the people who really big us up and make us feel like $1 million. You know, who we leave and we can be like, I'm so happy I just spent my dinner with you or something. I just think that's really key to kind of who is your social circle, because they play a huge part obviously in you. Okay, what are your final tips for building confidence? And then I'm going to open up the Q&A, and so if anyone has got any questions, please do type them in the Q&A box. But finally, to Chloe and Tiwa, what are your top tips for building confidence? Some quick fires. Anyone can.
Yeah, I'll go quickly. Think about what you want to do, get clear on what you want, where you want to get to, and then think about what is the first tiny little step that you can take towards getting there. Because if we think, right, I want to set up a blog, or I want to have a YouTube channel, I want to set up a business, or whatever goal you might have, that's really daunting and massive and is overwhelming, and you're not But if you just think about, right, what's the first tiny step? Spending half an hour researching, you know, possible names for your blog, or speaking to a friend about it and getting their advice.
Yes.
What's one tiny step? Because taking little baby steps, we can get there.
Yeah, that's so true. I love that, baby steps. Tiwa, what are your tips for building confidence?
Yeah, I always say, like, the one thing you need to know before you start a business or anything like that is yourself, because before you go for the dream job or the dream car and, you know, the dream house, you need to know who you are and the amazing things about you. So first things first, know your strengths, know what greatness is inside of you, know what you love doing, know what your weaknesses are so you can manage them properly, know what's important to you, and then start being intentional about your personal growth. Because I thought, oh, when I'm older, I'll be grown, I'll be making money, life will be good. But actually, growth is intentional. If you do not do things every day, confidence is a practice. If you don't do small things to build your confidence, you're not just going to wake up one day and be confident. So start with, who are you? What do you love about yourself? What do you know to be true about yourself? And then keep that as like a little treasure chest inside of you. So days when the negativity comes, you can have a comeback and you can have things to say and be your own cheerleader.
Yeah, that's so true. Be your own cheerleader, because at the end of the day, but what's that meme I always see? If you don't love yourself, then no one else will, which is extreme. People will love you, but you know, you have to love yourself. And that doesn't mean going around being cocky and overly confident, being like, I'm the best, I can, you know, it just means you need to have that, you need to know that you can do this, you've got this, you're a good person, and you know. So I'm going to open up the Q&A. I've got a couple of questions. So I've got a question here from Holly. Going back to comparison culture, social media is obviously huge with this, and comparing ourselves to celebrities and influencers. What about any tips for dealing with comparing yourself to friends and family? Because, you know, your friend gets engaged. Oh, the eye roll when you're still single. Oh, another friend's pregnant. So what about, how do we help ourselves when it comes to comparing with people that, you know, we love, as opposed to celebrities and influencers that we probably don't know? Anyone can take this. Chloe.
Yeah, I guess there's no escape from that, really. You can't just turn your phone off and escape from your friends and your family.
No.
Yeah, I think that's, I mean, comparison's a funny one. Sometimes it's a compulsive thing, and meditation is going to help. Sometimes the comparison could be showing up because it's actually showing you that you're not living, you know, in line with your purpose, and you're not doing the things that are really important to you. And actually, maybe it's trying to tell you something. So ask yourself, is this an anxiety? Is this irrational? Or is it saying to me, actually, I'm not happy in the job that I'm in, and actually that's just giving me that motivation, that forward motivation to change things. And actually, maybe that's not a bad thing. But there are going to be some other situations where you can't control, you can't do anything else, and that just goes in the bucket named things we can't control. Maybe writing it down. I love the idea of ripping it up. Definitely going to try that myself.
It's really fun as well. It's
it's so much fun. What I would say on that is I have a monthly wins tracker, and this is a game changer as well for anyone who struggles from imposter syndrome. And this is a free tool on my website if anyone wants it. I created a calendar with all the months in the year, and I have small wins on top and big wins at the bottom. And every single month I will do like a mini reflection to say, okay, what were my small wins? What were my big wins? So by the end of 2020, I'm going to have a massive spreadsheet of all my wins every single month. And I've noticed that when I start comparing myself to people, I can go in and look at that calendar and remind myself that actually I'm killing it as well, because comparison always makes you feel like you're second place. Everybody else is so much more ahead of you, and you're the only one in life struggling. And that's just not true. No. So when you remind yourself of your wins, you remind yourself that actually you're doing so well compared to last month or last year, and that is something to celebrate. So when you celebrate yourself more, and you know that actually you're doing the best you can with the resources you have, it really shifts your perspective from everyone else is amazing and you're terrible, and you can be like, actually, I'm amazing, she's amazing, she's amazing, we're all amazing, and it's okay.
We're all amazing, we should all love ourselves.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I've got time for one more question. We've got someone here who said, I feel really anxious in lots of social settings, and find myself having to drink more alcohol to feel confident. Do you have any tips so I don't feel the need to drink to feel confident? I don't know who wants to take this. Chloe, do you want to take this?
Yeah, I stopped drinking for, I've had 2 periods in my life where I stopped drinking for about 1.5 years each time.
Okay.
And it kind of forces you to have to learn how to be sober in situations and go into rooms where you don't know anyone and introduce yourself without a drink in your hand. And it is an interesting experience, and it is scary. Well, it was for me to begin with, but it's something that gets a lot easier.
Yeah.
I think it's helpful to remember that 50% of people that you meet are shy. They would say that they're shy.
Wow, okay.
It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. And ask anyone. No one really enjoys going into situations and introducing themselves. Like I would say a lot of people, at least 50% of people, are going to find it a little bit nerve-wracking. And my boyfriend's he does sales, and he suggested to me, he said, Chloe, you just got to go up to someone, put your hand out. I know we can't do handshakes at the moment, but in the future, and say, hello, my name is Chloe. And that's literally how I start friendships and business beginnings, and just saying, hello, my name is, what your name is, go and introduce yourself to someone. And very often that person, I've had so many people say to me, I'm so grateful you came and introduced yourself, because I was feeling really nervous. I had no one to talk to. So if you can get over that little bit sober, you're going to feel invincible. You're going to feel
Tiwa, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I would say a lot of the times the reason why we have social anxiety is because even before we get to the event, we're already thinking about how we're going to say something stupid, or how we're going to be awkward, or, you know, maybe when we're talking, we're already thinking, oh, people are not liking me and things like that. Again, going into the future to think of the worst possible outcome. So what I would say is, actually, before you go into that social situation, just pause and start visualizing, you know, you making great connections. Visualize you laughing and connecting with people, because you actually don't know which way it's going to go. So you might as well visualize a positive, happy outcome. I think when you do that, that's going to calm your nerves a lot. And a lot of the times people are always thinking about how they look or how they're speaking, rather than judging you for whatever you're doing, you know? So there's really no need to be worried or afraid. Just kind of visualize things going well, and if things do go wrong, just laugh it off. You know, you might never see those people again, but we're not perfect. We make mistakes as human beings. Like, I know I've said some pretty stupid things in my life, which I probably play over and over in my mind, but learning to not do that and just think of, actually, that was a beautiful connection, and just keep it moving.
Love that. Okay, so our time is up, sadly. There's actually loads more I'd love to ask you, but just want to round off. Can you each tell me maybe one mantra or one kind of phrase or line that you go by, that you that rings in your head, that you say every day, just to really pep you up? Oh, bit of a gale in here. Just to really pep you up and boost your confidence on a day-to-day basis. Tiwa, do you have one that you would like to share?
My favorite one is that you matter simply because you exist.
Love that.
Your worth is intrinsic. It's not based on how much money you have, where you are born, who your family are. You matter simply because you're alive and you're breathing and existing on this planet.
That's lovely. Chloe, what's your day-to-day confidence mantra?
So this is a bit of a strange one, but I have mine with an action. I do like a fist pump, and I say to myself, yes, 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 yes. And I do that for, I don't know, 30 seconds or something. And it seems to just raise my energy and get me into like a more high vibe state. And yeah, I love to do that.
Start doing that in the mirror. Yes, come on. I love that. Great. So I hope everyone's kind of been able to take some stuff away from this, and that you can really, if you are feeling like a little low or lacking confidence, I hope that these tips can really help you. And you know, this year's been a weird year, that's for sure, and I think a lot of us, we all need to be helping each other and boosting our confidence, and hopefully the troubles of this year will soon pass. We can only hope. But thank you for joining, and see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that session, ladies. That was really inspiring, and I definitely got some top tips, and I hope everyone who was listening did too, to help you go away and feel more confident. Really, really amazing session. And there'll be information about all of the speakers when you get your digital goodie bag on Monday. So if you want to follow up with anyone or use any of the resources that they have at their fingertips, then you'll be able to do that. So our third session of the day, Power Your Mind and Body to Boost Your Emotional Health, will start at midday. So I shall see you all then. Thank you.